All right. So guys, I got started with week number 1. And as a part of week number 1, we first started with what is Java difference between JDK, JRE, and JVM. And I asked you guys to install Java. I need to know where are you with that. So can you tell me, Sunit, what about you? Are you done with that?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Amruta, I know you're done with that, right? Already? Amruta, you're done with that? Hi, Amruta, can you hear me? Okay, Anisha, are you done with that?
Yes, Sovic. This has been done long back.
Yeah, perfect. What about Emmanuel? Hi, Emmanuel. Amruta, can you tell me? Are you done with that? I can't hear you. If you're talking, I can't hear you. I see I've unmuted, but I can't hear you. Please check your mic.
Can you hear me now, Sophie?
Yeah, Emmanuel, I can hear you now. Please go on.
Yes, I'm almost done with the videos. Yes.
Are you done with the installation of Java?
Yeah, I'm almost done with it. Yes, I'm done. Yes.
Okay. Komal, how about you?
Yeah, I'm done. Please.
All right, perfect.
Thanks.
Thank you. What about Manoj?
Yes, I've did that.
Okay. Moses?
It's done.
All right, perfect. How about Ria?
Hi, Sovic. Good morning. I have done the first part of week 1.
Okay. Are you done with
Yeah.
the Java installation?
No, I have to do the setting up of Java, Eclipse, everything from there onwards. But I've just done the basic first. What is Java? Difference between JDK, GRE, JVM.
Okay, so this is what the problem is, right? Everybody has to be in the same page. I mean, at least you should have completed at least 3 videos, otherwise you're kind of lacking behind, Ria. I mean, you need to figure out the time. Get up early in the morning or sleep late, doesn't matter. I need whoever
Yeah.
is committing to the training, I need you guys to be in the same page. Otherwise, I will keep on talking about the topics every week and things will be lacking behind for you, right? So you have not even installed the Java, and
No,
that.
I will do it today. I'll do it today.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shravanti, what about you?
Hello.
Yeah, hi Shravanti, what about you?
Sovic, I have installed and I have went through the first video. The thing is that my laptop went for repair the last week and it will be done. I have installed Java, Eclipse and all. There is a charging port problem. It will be done by today or maybe tomorrow. I have set up everything and kept. I should go through the video and it will be done by tomorrow.
Okay, all right. Sunit, what about you? You're done, right?
Yeah, I am already done. Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, so the first thing is done. I will give you guys a glide through what is Java, what is JDK, what is JVM, and I need you to tell me if you have any question regarding this topic, this three things. These are very basic stuff. You need to understand how this works because lot of next concepts will lie on how JVM ideally works. So I told you this very well in the video that Java consists of 3 different components: Java Virtual Machine, Java Runtime Environment, Java Development Kit. Okay. What is Java Virtual Machine? This is what is happening. A source code file can get compiled to a bytecode file. How do you compile it? Who can answer me this? How do I compile a source code file to a bytecode file? Come on, I have said that
Through
very.
JRE.
No.
Java Virtual Machine.
What is the command I use to convert?
Java C.
Java C.
That's the question. That's the answer. I
Yeah.
need Java C. Java C is a system that lies within JRE folder, and within that you can go ahead and you can use that Java C program to compile a source code file to a bytecode file. How do you know that? Very simple. Always dig deeper. Dig deeper, ask questions to yourself, what's happening and how it's happening. Go to program files, go to Java JDK, bin, you see I have Java C right here. You see that? So Java C is there as a part of your system, which is helping. It's another program that helps you to compile Java file to a class file. I've explained this in the video very simply, that you don't have to know too much, but you just have to say that you just have to know that .java file gets converted to a .class file. Okay, and we use Java C to do that. Very simply, Java. Why do I need to convert to the class file? Because machine will not understand whatever you have written in the .java file, because it is simple English. Okay, machine just understand only 1, 0 and 1. That's it. Machine, that means your system, just understands 0 and 1. 0 means switch off, 1 means switch on. And by a combination of your switch on and switch offs, you're basically creating a program. That is all how a program works. Very simple. Okay. And once you are done with this particular .class file, that's where you go and you can run your Java program, which will run on top of your virtual machine. It will not run on top of your operating system. Whatever operating system you have, that's totally irrelevant. It will run on top of your virtual machine. So what you have to do as a executor of your Java program, you have to download the virtual machine that is you know relative to your operating system version. If you have Windows, then you will download JVM, basically not JVM, I will say JRE or JDK and and these two guys will have the virtual machine within itself, and that virtual machine is specific to your operating system. As simple as that. So your program is running on top of your virtual machine. Okay. Everybody's clear with this particular slide? Yes, no? Give me a shout, please.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
Arvind.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Just a second. Amrita. Okay. That's perfect. Okay. Next, let's go to the next slide. What is JRE then? Okay. JRE is an actual implementation of JVM plus set of libraries. Okay. These are the libraries that you can see. When I'm saying libraries, these are nothing but programs. And I have shown you, if you go to the JDK under bin folder, you see there are so many different kind of systems or different kind of applications. You see, they are all applications. And every application is having some specific job. And you can say these are all a part of your library. Even the DLL files, dynamic link library, .dll files, dynamic link library. These are all the libraries that are coming along with the JVM to make this whole thing happen, the compilation and then execution. Okay, that is all the JRE is. And why do I need a JDK then? Well, JRE is basically needed for you to execute a piece of code, to execute your program. So I have given you this particular example, right? You are a developer. You are developing your source code in a Windows system, and you have JDK installed in your system. You're creating a particular program, and you're giving this program to your client. The client has no requirement to develop the program. He will just be executing the program. So he needs just the JRE for his own system, that is Mac. That's it. He don't have to really bother about installing the JDK. JRE is nothing but Java runtime environment, which is there just to execute a Java program. And the client can download his own JRE version depending on whichever operating system he or she is using. And similarly, the developer will be having his own JDK version. They will be installing, they will be implementing the code and sending the program to the client, and then client can execute it. Very simple to understand. So Jre, you understand, for executing the program. JDK is basically to implement the program as well as to perform additional options like debugging or compiling. All those things are coming out of JDK, right? So you can see it's a dev tools. So this is a Jre, and it comes along with the dev tools in which you have Java C and Java and everything, right? So question time. Look at this code. Look at this video or this section. I said that I have JDK as a developer, and I'm sending this piece of source code to the client, and the client can execute it. So client needs JRE, developers needs JDK. Everybody is okay with that? Yes, no?
Yes.
Okay. Question is, Shravanti, your video is on. If you want to close the video, it's okay. Shravanti, your video is on. If you want to close the video, it's okay.
Oh, yes, I'm doing. I just pressed it by mistake.
No problem. That's okay. So what I'm saying is, you have JDK as a developer, you have client will be executing it. The question is, to execute a program, if you have seen my whole video, the first video, I said you create a .java file, you use Java C program to convert that to a .class file, and then you run the command like Java, and then you say whatever the name of the file it is. For example, my first program, right? And you just run this, and this program will run. Is that yes or no? Have you done this on your own? Is that yes or no? Is it working exactly the way I'm describing? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if it is working like this, my question is, why the client will not have to run Java C? I mean, why he don't need a Java C to execute his program or to compile his program and then execute the program? Why the developer is only breaking his head on installing JDK and then finally debugging it or compiling it and then running it? So you see, as a part of JDK, we have Java C in the dev tools and then Java in the dev tools. But why for Jre it is not there? That's the question. Can you tell me why it's not there?
It's a development package.
Maybe
Sorry,
we are giving the.
I didn't get that. I didn't get the answer. Sorry. Can you please go on one more time?
Java C is a development package.
That is right. That is right. It is a development package. But the question is how the client is able to execute the program.
Because everything is in the JDK.
That's right. That's fine. The client, but client is not having JDK. Client is having JRE. The question is how client is able to execute the program.
The program is already compiled.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the answer I'm looking for. The program is already compiled. So that means as a developer, this is a developer, he is working on the .java file. Once it is done, he is compiling this guy. He's compiling this guy with the help of Java C to .class file. Okay. And this class file, or not one, but multiple class files. Okay. Multiple class files gets packaged into something called as a build. Okay. And then this build is what you send to your client. So client is already having a compiled version of your program. And then you just run it with Java, because client will obviously have Java and he can run it. And that's how he is able to run it. Everybody is okay with that? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. Let's move on to the next part. Okay, let's see the above code in action. I have already done this. So I need to know whether, do you want me to do it again? I've done this in the video. I want to know whether you are happy with that or you want me to do it again. Creating a
I'm
basic,
happy with that.
you're happy with that? Okay. Creating a basic source code file, compile it to the bytecode, and then execute the program. It's very simple. Please watch the video. It is very simple to do. Java installation and configuration. I think most of you guys have done it. Whoever didn't do it, please do that. Installing Eclipse Ide. Well, you just go to this particular location, Eclipse downloads, and you will be able to download the Eclipse. Your Eclipse will look something like this. Let me go and open up my Eclipse. Eclipse is needed. Why I need Eclipse? Because you understand that Eclipse will give me the flexibility in terms of debugging the program, and then using something called as IntelliSense, and then it comes up with a lot of different option, specifically with respect to your maintainability of your project. It gives you a lot of different flexibility, right, when you want to maintain your project, because you cannot really think of creating one file at a time the way I showed you, in terms of like just opening up a simple text editor and creating a Java program. That is not going to work out in an enterprise level system. Okay, so you need to have a maintainable piece of project that can be easily maintained. So here, when you open the Eclipse for the first time, you get this particular this window. You have to create a workspace. You can say a workspace is a folder. It's just nothing but a directory in which you are going to keep multiple projects. So right now I'm creating a directory, April 2021, right? I said launch. When I do that, my workspace will be created in Eclipse. It takes some time for the first time. Okay, that's your welcome screen in the Eclipse. Just cross it out. Okay, and that's the next view that you will see in the Eclipse. I will take out all the other panels in this whole screen which are not needed. For example, task list, outline, and then problems, and then declaration, and then Java doc. I don't need any of them, so I just took them out. So now once I'm done with that part, next thing what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and I'll create a project. Okay, so when I want to create a project, you can either create a project from this particular section over here. So you can say create a Java project, or you can even do it from this section, file, new, Java project, Java project. Okay, and as a part of this guy, I say the project name, whatever the project name is. I'll say week one summary class, simple. And now you see this is a simple wizard that is helping you to create the project. So it says that this project will run on which Java version, because it's possible that in your system, you probably have 2 or 3 different Java versions. Okay, and it will let you choose that this project will be implemented on the basis of a particular Java version. So for me, I have just one Java installed in my system, that is Java 11. So by default, it is giving me only Java 11 over here. I don't have any other option to choose. Okay, so user execution environment, it is Java 11, just Java 11. And you can also say use default JDK, that is whatever you have already installed in your system. You can even choose that. I'm just keeping it like this, and I'll say finish. When I do that, it will ask me whether I want to create something called as module info.java. I don't want to create this, so click on don't create, and that's it. Your simple Java project got created. Now, the thing is that you should be understanding. You see, the way I teach my students, I go, whatever I do, I go a level down deeper to make you understand what's happening. I don't teach vague, right? So whatever happened right now in the screen, you can see that something came up along with the project. When I expanded the project, something came up over here. It says Jre System Library. You see, this library comes like this: a book, multiple books in the library, right? So what is a library? Library is nothing but a set of jar files. So if I want to put this through to you, I should be drawing a small tree structure. So it's a library. Okay. The library is then going to have multiple jar files. A library. So this library, the library name that I have added to my project is nothing but Jre library. Jre library. Jre library is the internal library, library of Java. Like we have this internal library of Java, Jre. You can create multiple other you can install multiple other third-party library as well. This library is given to us from Java itself. When you install Java, you got Jre. As simple as that. I told you how, right? So I'm just adding this Jre library to my current project. Now, the library that I have, library is built on multiple different jar files, jar files. Okay, hundreds of jar files or thousands of jar files. Jar files. Okay. A library is built on multiple different jar files. What is jar files, guys? Jar file is nothing but a short form of Java archive. What is Java archive now? What is Java archive now? Java archive is nothing but, you can say it's a zipped version or a compact version of thousands of .class files. Right? Right? That is basically a library. Now, you and me, we can also create our own library and then, put it across the whole world, and somebody can use our own library. It's very simple to create a library, and I can show you that to you in a minute. Okay? Can you give me a confirmation that you understand the structure? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a minute. Okay, perfect. So that's a library. Now, what I do here is I go and I say, let me clear my drawing. Now, what I'll do here is I'll go in the source code file. I'm going to say in the source code folder, I'm going to say new class. Okay. What is a class? We will talk about that in details later on. But for now, you can consider, I have already shown you how to create a class when I was showing the simple .txt file, right? So you can say this is the file which will hold your code. Simple. So I'm just giving the name to the class. I'll say my first project or program. Simple stuff. And I will say it's a main method. Okay. Because I have also told you that when I want to trigger a program in Java, I want to trigger it from a kickoff point. The kickoff point for me is the main method. Every project or in every project, you can have multiple different files, and each and every file can have a main method from where your program will kick off. Okay. So the font is little small. I'll go and increase the font. So window preference, and I'll say font, and I'll say colors and fonts, and I'll say basic, and I'll say text font, and I'll say edit 14. Okay, apply. Right? I think that's visible now. Okay. So I have this main method. This main method is the kickoff point for this particular file. Kickoff point for this Java file. Simple. Okay. Now what I'll do is I can go ahead and simply write sysout. Hi there, April 2021 batch. Simple. A simple sysout I have written. Now, first thing you need to understand, you see how easy it was for me to write that sysout statement. I just did syso and I hit Control and space in my keyboard to create that whole system.out.println, right? So I will remove that. This is what it was. Perfectly fine. Now, I did tell you earlier that you need to create a .java file. You need to create a .java file. And then you need to use something called as javac to compile this to a .class file. I did tell you that. Okay. Now, what I will do is I will try to just run this program. You see, I right click on this particular file and I say run as Java application. Right click on this program, run as Java application. When I do that, I'm getting a console output. But I didn't actually do the compilation. If I didn't do the compilation, how am I actually able to execute this program? That's the question that you should have in your mind. And to answer that, you need to dig a little deeper in Eclipse, meaning I will right click on this particular project and I will say show in Windows Explorer or System Explorer, which will open up the directory for me. That's the directory. That means that's a project where that's our project, week 1 summary class. So if I open this up, I have few different files. I have .settings file, I have .class path, .project. These are all the files which are needed by Eclipse for its own maintenance purpose. I don't want to really understand what's happening there. Eclipse is doing it on its own. What I see here is I see a source code file, src file folder and a bin folder. If I go inside the src folder, you see there is a program called as my first program. And this is a Java file. Okay, if you open this up, that's exactly what we have written so far. Simple stuff, right? Now, if I take you back to the project, you see there's a bin folder, and you will see that bin folder is a mirror image of the src folder. If you open this up, you can see I have my first program. However, here my first program is not a Java file, but it's a class file. Why is that? Because Eclipse is clever enough to perform the compilation for you, meaning as soon as you save it, so I'm saying int num 20. So I'm creating a variable that can store number. Okay. So I did that and I say save. As soon as I do a save, Eclipse is automatically firing Java C and it is compiling it and making it available for me to execute. Okay. There are two different type of issues you will see when you execute a Java program. Number one is a runtime error, or number two is compile time error. Compile time error. Meaning what? Meaning when you are performing an action, when you're writing a particular script and you're trying to compile it, For example, I have this int num equals 20. Sysout, I want to print this value num. So I will just simply access this variable within this bracket, just like that. And I say save, and this makes the compilation happen. Now, if I am somehow commenting out this particular variable, you see that Eclipse is clever enough to give me a compile time error, because as soon as I commented that and saved it, immediately Eclipse is telling me that this num cannot be resolved to a variable because Eclipse tried to compile it and figured out that there is no variable right now available which can be used for this particular line. That's a compile time error, which you can fix without even executing the problem. However, there's another type of problem which can be only understandable when you run it. Meaning, if I say num divided by 0, I don't get any error right now in my line number 10. No error at all. However, if I go and run this, I will immediately get an error saying arithmetic exception. So that's my runtime exception or runtime error, saying that I'm trying to divide a number with 0, which is not going to be possible. I hope that is making sense. Yes, no? Give me a shout.
Yes,
Yes.
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 Okay.
Yes.
Good. All right. So that's that. So you understand that how .java file is converted to .class file by Eclipse and how it is executing. That's perfect. Now, what I'll do is go back to, okay, let's check out the basis. Okay, no, that's fine. That one class is gone. Let's go to the next one. Week class 1. I'll go to the class 2. Okay. In class 2, what I am doing? All right. Let's first understand the Eclipse layout. Well, I have already shown you the layout. It's very simple. Left-hand side, you have the Project Explorer. So, sorry, that's not Eclipse. So, left-hand side, you have just a second. Okay, left-hand side, you have the Project Explorer or the Package Explorer, where you will be creating multiple projects. Right-hand side, you see the program that you're writing, and at the bottom, you have the console. Okay, that's the simple layout of Eclipse. Nothing more than that. Creating a class with a main method, I already did that. I showed you how to create a main class, main method. That's perfectly fine. Let's create a sample program to add numbers. Well, it's very simple. You can add a number or whatever it is. You can say int num2 equals 30. And I say I want to simply add num1 plus num2, num plus num2. And that's pretty much that you want to do in terms of adding a number. And then you can just print this value. The value will be 50. As simple as that. Nothing complicated. Understanding public static void main method. Okay, let's try to understand this. Public static void main. That is what a main method looks like. Okay, and then there is a open and a close flower braces. What is that? It is basically a scope of the method. So you can see, if you look at the Eclipse, you can see something that is, just give me 1 second. Let me get my mouse added. Okay. Okay, can you guys hear me? Yeah, you can hear me. Perfect. That's good. So now the point is that anything that works in Java, I mean, in Java, we have something called a scope, right? So every component in Java is having something called as a scope. For example, this is a method. Don't consider it as a main method, but it's a simple method. The method is having a scope, meaning that's my starting of the method, that's my end of the method. Whatever is in between, that is executed when the method is called. Okay, again, I have a class. The class name is my first program, and this my first program is having a scope, open braces and close braces. That's my scope of this class, inside which I can keep methods, I can keep constructors, I can keep variables, I can keep enums, many things. Okay, that is basically a scope of the class. So everything in Java, whether it is an interface, whether it's a class, whether it's a method, everybody is having a scope, and within the scope, whatever you have is what is executed when you call that entity. So here, main method is an entity, and you are, whatever is within the scope of the main method, I can call the main method to make it execute. The question is, we have to understand what is these four words, meaning public, static, void, main. Okay. And finally, what is string args? Okay, what is this? We have to understand that. Why am I showing this? Because I want you to understand. So the training with Wisdom QA at least is about the quality. You need to understand everything that is happening in the screen. You can ask me 100 questions, that's fine, but you need to understand each and everything, how a main method works. You must understand that, you must register that into your mind. Number one, public. Public meaning, okay, I'll say this is an access specifier. Okay, this is an access specifier which lets you call the method from anywhere, meaning within the project or outside of the project. You can call this method from anywhere within the project or outside of the project. How do I prove that? Simply by creating another class, new class, and say test main. Okay, this is my main method over here. Perfectly fine. Now I want to use this main method to call the main method that I have here. That's my motive. Okay, how can I do that? I can say my first program, that's the name of the class, program, that's the name of the class, dot, and you can see I have the access to the main method. This main method, I'm having the access to it. Now I can go ahead and trigger this, run as Java application, and I got this result back. From where it is happening? This guy, this first and foremost, the main method within test main got triggered, okay, which internally called the main method within my first program. How I am accessing the main method? I'm accessing the main method with a simple dot operator. Okay, I am able to access the main method with a simple dot operator. So you see, what am I doing here? I'm saying class name dot method name, right? That's what I did. Now this structure is only possible, this structure, class name dot method name, this structure is only possible if and only if the method is having a keyword called as static. If a method is having a keyword called as static, that means if a method is a static method, only then you can call that method with the help of the class name. Otherwise, you have to use something called as, you have to create instances, class instances. Because main method is a static method, so I can call that method with the name of the class. I'm getting a question. You want to take a break, Anisha? Okay, fine. So you understand that the main method is something that can be called just with the name of the class, because main method is a static method. So to answer that question here, any method with static specifier or static keyword, or any method with static option, I would say option can be accessed, can be called, okay, with class name dot method name. That's why we have the that's why we have the static method here. Okay, so what I'm talking about, I'm talking about the public static void main. I told you that the public method can be public, any method with public access can be accessed from anywhere within the project or outside of the project. I proved you that within the project, within this test main, I was able to access the main method. Okay, because it is a static method, so I can directly call it with the name of the class. Now I will show you how can I access this main method, my first program.main, this main method. How can I access this from a different project? Okay, I will show you that. What I will do is I will first create a new project because I want to call the first project from the second project. That's my motive. How can I do that? Very simply, I will file new Java project. Okay. And I will name this project as test project. Simple. Just say finish. Don't create. Okay. Simple project over here. It is exactly the same format or the same layout what I have shown you earlier. This one and this one, there is no difference. Even this guy has a Jre added to it. Even this is having a Jre added to it, perfectly fine. Now my motive is to somehow figure out how can I access this project from this project. I can do that if I can somehow perform a build out of this project. How do I do it? Right click, export. Export to what? Export to Java jar. Jar means, what is jar, guys? What is the full form of jar?
Archive, Java archive file.
Java archive file. Perfect. Right? So what I'll do is I'll say next, and I'll say, let's give a name to the jar file. So the name is, give any name. I'll say first project. First project. Okay. And where do I put the file? I'll put the file over here in the desktop. I'll just say it Java, or say first project. First project. Save. That's the location. You see, first project.jar file, jar file. Okay. And just say finish. So my project got created or built as a jar file. Now the idea is I want to add that jar file to the test project. In the test project, I can say right click, I can say properties, and I can say Java build path. In the Java build path right here, I can say within libraries and class path, add external jars. And here I will go and add the first project jar just like that. You see, .jar file got added to the class path. Apply and close. As soon as I do it, you see there is something else coming here. It's called reference libraries. This is Jre System Library. It's an internal library, and you see it is a reference library. So you created a jar file based off this particular project, and you added it here. If you expand that now, you see my first project.jar is here. Okay. Now if I expand that, it is showing some information. Default package. Inside that I have two .class files, not Java files. .class files, meaning the project is already compiled, right? These are already compiled files, perfectly fine. Now if I have that, now let's go back to our source folder within test project. So new Java class and say test me. Simple. With the main method. Done with that. Now what I'll do, from this particular main method, I want to ideally call the main method of the project. This project is having my first program. I have a main method. So I want to call this main method ideally. How can I do it? My first program. dot main. I can access it just like that because my first program is added as a jar file into this particular project. So now I have this. So this particular property I said about public is proved, right? Now I go and I run this program, Java application, and I get the same result, right? How that is possible? Because public specified entities can be accessed within the project or outside of the project, and that's how I can prove it. If I take out, if I just remove the library, the jar library, you see, I go back to property, I go back to this library, click on this and say remove, apply and close. I immediately get the error because this guy doesn't make sense anymore. There is no way I know where this my first program is coming from. Everybody's clear with that? Yes, no, give me a shout.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Yes, Souvik, I have one question.
Mhm.
You have added the external jar file in the class path, right?
Yeah.
So there is one more option called module path that also allows to add as an external jar file. So what's the difference between two options?
Just a second.
If you go to the properties build path,
Yeah.
so there are two options: module path and class path. Now you
Yeah.
have added the external jar file in the class path.
Yeah.
So we have option in the module path as well. So what's the difference between if I add it in the module path, will it work?
I don't think so. I haven't tried this section, but I think this particular file. Wait a minute, let me check. You see, that doesn't work. That doesn't work.
Okay.
I have to check this module section. If you see that when I am creating a project, it talks about generating a module. Okay, and I said don't create, right?
Okay.
I think if you are creating a module and then you are exporting it as a jar and then you are accessing it the way I'm doing it now, then it makes sense. But you cannot directly access it like a Java project as a module.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Remove. Okay. Now the question is, I'm not hearing from Amruta. Do you have any question? Are you good with this? Whatever I just said so far.
Yes, Souvik, I'm good. No questions.
Emmanuel.
Yeah, perfect. I'm all right.
Okay. Harris. Harris, are you good? Can't hear you, man. I can't hear you. Manoj, are you good?
Yes, Souvik.
Komal, Moses, Ria.
Yes, all is good. Thank you.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay.
Souvik, I have one more question. Sorry.
Go on. No problem. That's fine.
You have created a test main under one package, right? Default package. For example, I have another package called default to one package inside the same project. So I have two packages, right?
Yeah.
So can I use the same syntax for accessing from the second package, or do I need to use the jar file?
No. The same project. Okay. So what you're saying here is you have this particular project package, and then you can create another package here.
Right.
Test me, whatever. Test me. So test me. Okay. And this project is going to have another class file.
Right.
So say my new class. Okay. And this my new class is different than this guy, obviously, because they are actually, if you understand it properly, they are packages are nothing but simple folders, right? So this folder is different, this folder is different, and obviously the files within it is different. So if you want to access this guy, you have to, if you want to access this guy, you have to tell that this guy is within this particular package, and that's where
Okay.
you will mention it. So for example, over here, if you see, no, now I cannot show you because it's an old project, because this guy is I've added this new package here, so I have to recompile it and then get the jar file and add it here. But I hope you understand this file, and this file is different. The main reason for them is even if the files are identical,
Okay.
still, if you want to make sure that you want to call this particular file, then you have to specify this package name. You have to
Okay.
say that you are accessing this particular file, which is within the package test me, or you're trying to access this particular file, which is within the default package, right?
Okay. So it means test time dot the class name dot
No.
the class name.
You will do something like this. You will say import. You will say import test me, like this, and within the test me, you can access the project over here.
Okay.
Okay, you say
Okay.
import test me dot my first program, first program, and then you can access this my first program over here, right?
Okay. The normal way of importing all the packages like Java util.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. I got it. Yeah. Got it.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Sorry, I should not delete that. Okay, so that's that part. Public static. Void. What is void? Void means nothing but every main method you see, there is something called as void. Void. So if a method is having the keyword called void, meaning this method is not returning back anything. Okay, you're not returning back any input or output from this method. So whatever is within the method is getting executed. This method is not returning back any information. Okay, that's why it is void. So void meaning not returning any value, any value. That's basically the void means. Main is basically the name of the method. Name of the method. Okay, and finally, string of arguments. This is the parameter param to the main method. Is a parameter to the main method. It's a parameter, it's an array parameter, I will say. It's an array of string parameter to the main method. The question is, why do I even have this particular structure? Public static void main string of arguments, string of array, args, right? Why do I even have this particular structure? Can you guys tell me that, please? Anyone? Why this particular structure? Why is that? Can you guys tell me that, please?
Is that what you use to execute the code?
I wouldn't say that. The answer should be JVM is specifically looking for a structure like this. JVM is specifically looking for a structure like this in order to execute a main method. As I said, main methods are the kickoff point for any program, meaning if I remove everything from here, I'll clear out everything. Meaning, if I just create another main method, you see, I say public static void main, and you see, I can keep this method and this method over here. You see, public static void main, the only difference is this guy is having arguments as a parameter, and there is no arguments over here. And I'm saying, sys out my duplicate main, right? And now I go and I execute this program, run as Java application. It didn't execute this guy. Why? Because JVM knows that this guy is not the one that I'm looking for. I'm looking for only this guy. And that's why I am able to execute whatever is within it, not this guy at all, right? So JVM is looking for this particular structure. That's the reason a main method needs to be in this structure. Otherwise, JVM will not call it. You saw that how I explicitly tried to call the main method, meaning, you see what I did over here. I said, over here, I said, this is my main method. So this method will be kickoff point, okay? Kickoff point. So you understand this, right? When I say right click on it and I say run as Java application, that's where the JVM triggers, or JVM tries to find out the main method, this particular main method. So it found this particular main method to kick off for this particular file. That's good. As soon as it launches this particular method, or it calls this particular method, the next line is line number 5, where it says, let me call the main method directly. So this main method, understand this, this main method is not called by the JVM. In this situation, in this particular situation, this method, this main is not called by JVM. So who is calling this main method then? Who is calling this? Who is calling this main method? If JVM is not calling it, then who is calling this main method?
The
Come
main
on.
static void main method, which in turn calls the.
Yeah, meaning I am calling it, right?
Yeah.
Because I have written this line. I have written this line here saying that my first program dot main. I said that explicitly so that I can call the main method. JVM is not calling that main method. JVM is calling this guy. JVM is just calling this guy because it knows to trigger a Java program, the kickoff point is this guy, right? So I just called this guy, perfectly fine. And then I explicitly called this particular main method, and then the main method got triggered, which is this particular main method got called, and within the main method, whatever is there, it got executed. Is that clear to everyone? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
good. Perfectly fine. So, Emmanuel, I see you're leaving at 11:30. Please try to make sure that you stay in the whole class from next week onwards, because this is just one class you have to ask any doubt that you have, any problem that you have. So I'm expecting everyone in the batch to commit the 3 hours per week in the weekend. Otherwise, you will have a lot of questions in mind, and you will be wondering, right? So please make sure that you stay back at least from next week onwards. So that's that. My first program. So my first program, okay. What I was saying here is, okay, let's try to understand string of arguments. This particular thing, what is it? String of argument is nothing but string args is nothing but, it's an array. It's a parameter for main method to accept what? Array of strings. Array of string. Okay. This is the structure is understandable by JVM, and it is expecting that you can send an array of strings, but if you don't send anything, even then it's fine. If you don't send anything, even then it's fine. Okay. So I want you to understand how exactly the string of array is working out. What I will do is I'll put a breakpoint right here in line number 8, and I will say debug as Java application. When you perform a debug, you will get this particular prompt saying confirm perspective switch. So you say remember my decision and say no. There is no need to change to a different layout. So you see my execution got stopped or paused in line number 8 because I added a breakpoint. You can add a breakpoint just by double clicking on the line like this. You see a blue dot, that's a breakpoint. The breakpoint is needed because you want to execute or you want to pause your execution at a specific line number. That's how you want to debug. That's how you want to perform a debugging. Debugging means you want to understand that at runtime, what is happening with your program. Like right now, in line number 8, my execution is stopped. And now I can do some inspection to figure out what's happening with my program. For example, I can hover my mouse on top of args, and I can see that it's an array of string, and it has nothing in here. It's empty. It's an empty array. I am able to understand that because I can debug my program. So I just double clicked on this line number 8, and I ran the program as debug as Java application, not run as, but debug as Java application, which will start the program in debugging mode, and it will stop the program or pause the program in line number 8, wherever the breakpoint is. And then you can even go to the next line by using this F6 over here. Or I can say, just a second. Why do I not have this guy enabled? Here, that's good. You see, I have this guy here called step over, F6, right? You can click on this guy and you can go one level, one step at a time. Okay, for example, the num variable, I can inspect it and I can see the value has been assigned as 20, and num2, the value is 30. So obviously in line number 11, I should get the printout as 50. And see, I can go step by step by step. That is what debugging is all about. So what I will do, I'll stop this and I will start the debugging one more time. And I showed you that in line number 8, when I stop or pause, args is an empty array. Okay, arg is an empty array. That's fine. Now, why this empty array is even there? It's there because you now can trigger a main method with some information attached to it. For example, I can do something like this. I'm trying to, this is string, right? So what I will do is I'm writing a piece of code, which is probably not understandable for you right now. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to run a for loop, okay? Specifically a for each loop. So for string name or name colon args. Okay, this is a for loop that I'm writing. Probably it is not understandable for you. I totally understand that. I'll talk about that later on. But this is a for each loop. Okay. Why am I doing this? I am doing this because I want to access this ARGS, meaning if I send some parameter, I want to access it in the ARGS, and I can say sysout, and I can say name. So my motive is I want to send multiple different names here and eventually print them out. That's my motive. Question is, how can I send multiple arguments over here? You can do that with the help of Eclipse. You can say, just go in here. You see run configuration, click on run configuration. When you come to this portion, you see something called as arguments. And here in the arguments, I'm giving some values like Sovic, like Amruta, like you see, I give a space, Sovic, Amruta, Mohan, say Moses, say Romeo, whatever, right? And then I say apply, and then I can perform a run or I can perform a debug. Okay, what I'll do a debugging. So let me try to perform a debugging. So debug configuration, arguments, I have these values here. Okay, and I can perform a debugging. So debug, could not find a load main class Sovic. There is no main class called Sovic. I'm doing something wrong. Hold on. Debug configuration. Main class is my first program. Project is this. Argument is my bad. Hold on. It's not this guy. It is this guy. Okay. Apply. Debug. Right. You see, I'm again paused line number 8. Now, if I hover my mouse on the ARGS, I see Sovic, Amruta, Mohan, Moses, Romeo. They're all coming to me as a parameter, a string array parameter. Okay. Now I can go ahead and I can run this program, and you will see that I am able to print out all these values. So ideally, you understand that this parameter is over here for just one thing. That is, you can enter or you can push some information from an external entity to the main method. That's why this ARGS is there. Is that clear to everyone? Yes, no? You're trying to pass on some information within the main method. That's why you have string of arguments. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions? Give me a shout, please. All right. What is Java packages? As I told you.
Sorry, Sovic, one question. When we say public static void main, so in the void, when we say this is a return type, I'm trying to form the question. So when we do a sum of two numbers, and we are returning a value.
Yeah.
So
no,
10
you're
plus.
not returning a value. You're just printing a value.
Okay.
You're saying sum of two numbers. Okay.
Yeah.
You're just printing. You're just completing the sum, and then you're printing the value within the main method itself. You are not returning a value. When you say return a value, you will have a keyword like this called return and num plus num2, right? That is a return statement, a proper return statement. But in main method, there is no need of a return statement because main method will never return any value. It will always, it's always a void, right? Meaning it has nothing to return. But later on, we will create multiple methods that has to return values. And that's how you ideally return a value, right?
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's go to the next section. All right, I'm talking about packages. What is a package? Guys, package is very simple. Package basically helps us with preventing naming conflicts, searching items easier, providing access control. Why it is? Preventing naming conflict, meaning you can have same class name in two different packages. Nobody will even bother about that. You can have two different class and two same class name in two different packages. You can keep them in the project and there is no problem. Searching items easier. Packaging means nothing but you are creating some groups. For example, if you look at the Jre, you can see there is a Java, okay, java.base, and there are so many packages, right? You see com.sun.crypto.provider, okay? And if you open this up, you have so many guys here. You see that there are class files. So you see under com.sun.crypto.provider, within this crypto package, I don't know if this crypto is actually the crypto mean what we know about cryptocurrency or not. I don't know that. But whatever the reason it is, anyways, this crypto package is having some certain class files, correct? So this class files are specified or implemented for this crypto requirement, correct? So you can just organize them better with the help of packages, like you would do it for any folder. You in a folder you will add in multiple different classes. So that's how it is, right? Or different files, and each and every folder is there because you want to group them properly. So packages are something like that. Next we have to understand is providing access control. I'll talk about that in a minute, why I'm saying access control, because there is something called as a default and protected access modifier, which helps us to which we will be understanding it better when we actually understand the packages. So I'll give you the example right time. Just wait for a minute. Okay, then we have variables and constant. Variable, I just showed you how to create one. You say data type, you say number, you say value. So data type is int, then the name of the variable, and then the value. What is happening? You are simply having a memory. In the memory, you're creating a simple box. This box is having a name. The name of the box is name. Okay. Or no, sorry, not name, but number. And the box can store integer type of value, and the value is 10. That is how you're creating a simple variable. As simple as that. Okay. So you give the data type, you give the name, and you give the value. All right. And then you have constants. What is constants? Constant means, again, it's a memory that can store a number, but that number or that value will never change. That means it's a constant. Variable means you can keep on updating the value. You can right now have 11, 10, or you can have 20 or 50 later on. Because it's a variable, it can keep on updating its value. But constant, you cannot. You can just enter the value once, and then you can, for example, just see, it's very simple example. Always try to do things in your system so that you can understand. For example, that's a number, and I can say a constant. Constant you can write with the help of final int num3 equals 25 or 35, whatever, right? And now I want to simply say num3 equals 45. Can I do it? I can't. My Eclipse is throwing the error straight on my face, saying final local variable num3 cannot be assigned. It must be blank and not used and not using a compound assignment. Okay, basically it's trying to say that variable, which is a final variable, cannot update its value. That's what it's trying to say. Okay. However, a variable can update its value. That's how they are different. So that's that. Let me go again to the next slide. Ask me questions, guys. Ask me questions. Otherwise, your questions will not, your answers will not be clear, or your doubts will not be clear. So we have two different type of data types. One is called primitive and non-primitive data types. Primitive means when basically the Java language was initially implemented, you can see that in any programming language, to hold the data, you need to specify what type of data type to use to store the data. That's primitive data type, right? So you have integer, you have decimal, character, boolean, okay? And non-primitive is basically string. String is nothing but a class, but it is also a data type. So string data type came to us in order to handle multiple different characters together in one place. You see, we have character earlier as a primitive data type, but here I was able to store only one single character at a time. I said A, or I can say B, or I can say C, and you can simply store it with the help of single quotes, just like that. There is one character at a time you can store with the help of character data type, char data type. Okay, one single character. However, with the non-primitive data type, you have a string class. Ideally, if you understand this, it is basically a string is nothing but a class, but it is also working for us as a class, okay, as a data type. And this guy can now store multiple different characters together. My first program, right? That's a string, and that's a data type. And also it's a class, correct? So that is basically primitive and non-primitive data type. You can take a look into the video. If you have more questions around it, ask me. Let me go to the next slide. Here I'm giving you a data type tree structure. You see, I have primitive, non-primitive. In primitive, I have Boolean, I have character, I have integer, I have floating point. Okay. And non-primitive, I have string, array, integer. Integer meaning something like this. integer, integer, or Boolean, right? These are different data type as well. Okay. This integer data type can also store number, and Boolean data type can also store true and false, right? But they are created so that we can use it as a class data type as well. I will give you a right example when we talk about collections. I will give you a better example that why these guys exist. Okay, but for now, we have understood what is a simple data type and how to create a variable. That's great. Question is, why so many type of data types just for you can see this, right? So just for the number, just for storing number, I have byte, short, character, sorry, byte, short, int, long. Just for storing numbers, I have these 4 different data types. Why is that? Because it all depends on the range. For example, if you want to store the age of a human, you can easily store that within a byte data type because it has a range between -128 to +127. That's the range in which a human age can easily fit. Okay, if you want to probably get the number of students in a university, or number of students in a university or college for a particular year, okay, then you can say a short is good enough to handle that. Okay, int is a much higher range, so the int can store much higher value. Long is much higher. You can get the distance between two different galaxy, two different like planets, and you can store the difference or the information with the long data type. So depending on the range, you will choose what is something that you need ideally. Okay, but mostly people will not really bother so much. They put everything under int, and if they are really trying to hold lot of more value, they will go for long. But I think int is good enough for our purpose. Okay. But yeah, you should know why do we have so many type of data types. All right.
Sorry. So would it be good to always use short in our programs because it's not taking much of the memory?
You
Because
can,
usually,
you can, your code will absolutely work. There is no problem in that. But in any case, if you don't handle the short properly, there could be a possibility that you are storing or you got a data which is higher than this range, and then it should fall under int. And if you don't properly handle it, then your program will fail. So in a safer side, I would say keep it int always. Don't need to use long. Int is something that will work out always for any requirement that we at least face in terms of Java programming or whatever we are doing in terms of automation testing, right?
yeah, thank you.
Okay. Any questions up till now, guys? Yes, no? Any questions?
No.
No.
All right. Okay. All right, guys, let's take a quick 5 minutes break and we'll come back and then we'll talk about operators. We'll talk about arithmetic operators, relational operators, logical operators, pre and postfix operators, assignment operators, ternary operators, array, loops, and for each loop, Var Args. Okay, that will be that. And let me just check one more thing. I will quickly take a look at one section. That is, this is the class 2. In class 3, I have not added any PDF. That's fine because that's just an assignment. And class 4 also, I think, 1 minute. Yeah, class 4. This is class 4. Java class. Okay, and surname architecture. Okay. I understand that probably I will not be able to start Java class today because I have to cover up the other things, but that's totally fine. We will talk about the Java class tomorrow or next week because it's okay to go a little slow. It's all about the quality. So let's wait for the next class to talk about the Java class. I will anyway enable you with the week number 2. I'm expecting that you will have the time to complete the week number 2. And I will be, completing the Java class first tomorrow. I mean, next class, and then I'll go for week number 2 stuff, right? And I will also upload the solutions for our week number 1 into our Google Drive. Okay, so let's take a quick break and come back, and then we will try to we'll cover up how much ever we can here. Okay, so one thing I want to make clear to everyone that we are not rushing to complete the whole training within 4 months. We go slow and steady so that everybody understand what is or how exactly this whole thing is done, right? So I don't have any problem that if we take a couple of more weeks to complete it, but we want to complete it the right way because I want every one of you to get an offer or a job or at least get into an automation project after you complete the course. That is my main motive, and whatever it takes, it's fine, right? So let's take a quick break for 5 minutes. I'll come back and then we'll get started again. Thanks a lot. Guys, I'm back. Shall we start?
Yes, Avik.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So just a second. All right, so any questions up till now, whatever I have said so far? Are you guys all okay with that? I need to get some feedback from your side as well, the way I'm explaining things, am I going too fast, or you are not understanding it, or you want me to go a little more deeper? How is it going on right now?
It's going fine, sorry.
Harris, what do you think? Harris? Ria, what do you think?
Hi, Sovik. I think it's going good. I understand everything till now, whatever you taught.
Okay. Emmanuel, what do you think? Emmanuel, are you there? Oh, sorry, you left, I think. Manoj, what do you think?
Yes, it's going pretty good, Savik. I'm fine
Okay,
with
good.
the speed.
All right, perfect. So let's go and understand the operators. Well, operators are generally six different type of operators we have. Arithmetic, relational, logical, pre and postfix, assignment operator, and ternary operator. Arithmetic operator, I really don't want to spend too much time here. Just want to show you how they are. You see, you can perform an addition, multiplication, division, and a modulus operator. So there's a difference between a division and a modulus operator. So for example, you are dividing, say, 5 with 2. What will you do? You will say 2 times 2 is 4, and you get 1, right? So 1 is my reminder, and 2 is my division result. So if you say 5 by 2, you get 2 as a result. You can easily do that over here. Just say say sys out, and I'll say within brackets I say 5 divided by 2, and I just go and I run this. I get the result as 2, not 2.5. Can you tell me why it is like that? Why am I not getting 2.5? Or how can I get 2.5? Can someone tell me that, please? No? Okay. You need to, 2.5 is a decimal number. So you have to do it like this: float num a equals 5.0, float num b equals 2.0, right? Float will always have a suffix as f, and then all you do is you say num a by num b, and just say run. You get 2.5 because you are getting 2.5 because you have these guys in the decimal format. So you have to always make sure that you understand that. Now, the question here I was showing you in terms of modulus operator. Okay, for example, you have, okay, let's do a quick program with it. All right. So what I'll do is I have shown you an array. Okay, the array of strings. You remember that? This array of strings, right? So I'm just going to create an integer array, right? I will talk about how to create an array later on, but for now, just to make it work. Or let's do one thing. Let's not even work out with array. I will show you something else. I will do something else like this. The program is find the numbers between, find the numbers between 1 and 100, that's divisible by 2. Simple program. I want to find a number between 1 and 100, all the numbers between 1 and 100 that is divisible by 2. Okay, so what I will do is I will use a loop. Obviously, I will not be checking one number at a time. I will use a loop. All right, I'll talk about loop later on, but for now, just go with the flow. I say int I equals 0, I less than equals to 100, I plus plus. You know what? I'll say I equals 1. All right, and that's my range from 1 to 100. And I want to basically check that if any number or all the numbers which are divisible by 2. How can I do that? Very simple. I have to use some combination saying if I modulus 2 equals to 0. I am using multiple concepts here which I have not covered. I know that, but I'm just trying to show you how it works. So what I'm saying is if I modulus 2, meaning if I'm having the value, say, just a minute. If I have the value as, say, 2, and 2 is divisible by 2, so 2 times 1 is 2, and the remainder is a 0, right? So I can say 2 is divisible by 2, right? So this is the modulus. This modulus, I percentile 2, this modulus is going to give me the remainder. If my remainder is 0, then I can say that yes, this number is divisible by 2. As simple as that. That's the whole logic behind this program. If it is, then just simply print the program, simply print the number. Sys out I. So what am I doing? Simple problem. I is a variable. Starting the variable with the value, initial value as I mean 1, and I want to go till 100, and I want to check in between any number that is divisible by 2. Okay, that's all the program is. So you can see I said I percentile 2, or I modulus 2. And if I run this now, right from 2 till 100, whichever is divisible by 2, I get the whole list. Okay, so I understand that I have used some concept here, obviously something called as a loop. Sorry, loop. I have if else block, or if else condition check, condition check. Those kind of things I have not spoken about yet, but I'll talk about it right now. Okay, so sorry, just give me a minute. I need to take some water.
Can you also use the ternary operator on this, or would that not work?
No, this is not a ternary operator kind of thing. Sorry. This is not a ternary operator kind of thing. Ternary operator is something like this, where you want to have a if-else statement. Then ternary operator is, yeah, I mean, wait a minute. I think you can do that. Sorry. You can do something like this. You can say, you can say, var, holy shit. Just give me a minute. Sorry, my bad. I don't know why I'm getting hiccups. Anyways, so what I'm saying is, yeah, you can probably get it done with the ternary operator. So int num equals ternary operator will look like this. So you will say I percentile 2 if it is equals to 0. If it's equals to 0, no, it'll not work, right? Or you can do something like this. If this equals to 0, yeah, wait. If this equals to 0, then print I, else print print nothing. Can I do that? I can, but it will, just a minute, int num. Okay, int n. Let's try that. So the problem is it will always return me a 0 over here for when this is not going to be true. It'll give me a 0 always, which is not something that I want probably. I cannot escape out of it actually. I cannot escape out of it. If I don't give a 0, so if I run it like this, let me comment this out. If I run it like this, just a second, something is happening wrong here. So if I percentile 2 is not equals to 0, then I want to get the I. Oh yeah, my bad. I have to put the sys out for num, right? And then it will work. Yeah, you see that? That's not right. Yes, you see that? I'm getting 0 because this else part is always active. Ternary operator, that's a problem. This else part is always active. So if you have a requirement where you want to work with an else part, then ternary operator can really still work out. But what do I do here? I mean, I cannot say don't print anything when this condition doesn't match. So I have to send some integer value. So if I'm saying 0, then you can see it just comes 0 and then it says 2 and then 0 again and then it's 4. It's not good to see, you know. So that's why I will not go with this approach. Never. I'll go with this approach. And that will give me the value always properly. Is that clear? Yes, no?
Yeah.
Good. All right. So I got the modulus operator here, right? That's fine. So that's our arithmetic operator, simple plus, minus, divide, modulus. That's it. Let's go to the next thing, relational operator. Very important to understand. Okay, what did I say? In Java, the operator between two variables determines the outcome as true or false. What are the relational operators? Equals to, not equals to, greater than, less than equals to, greater than equals to. You see what I'm getting? I'm getting the response back as a true or a false. That's what I'm getting. Relational operator will give me a true or a false value. That's it. So I say here, sys out. Okay. I say num a equals to num b. What do I get out of this? I get the result as false. I get the result as false here because they are not equal. Okay, if I say not equals to, then I get the result as true. Yes, it is not equals to each other. So yeah, it is true. That's how it is. So relational operators will give you back always a true or a false as a entity or as a result. Correct? So that's that. Logical operator. Logical operator is what? It is kind of giving me the flexibility to, I mean, it can again give me the result as a true or a false. But now with logical operator, I can check multiple different conditions. For example, look at this particular simple program. What am I doing? I'm saying int A, int B, okay? And I'm saying I'm checking two different conditions. I'm saying if A equals to B and if A is equals to 10, then give me the result. Is it? It's not. Okay, so you have to understand something very well with logical operator. You have to understand this very well, okay? Number one, there is whatever these conditions, how many ever conditions I'm checking. When I have and between the condition check, okay, and the conditions are failing. So think about it. Look at this particular situation clearly. I have this and operator right there. I have this and operator right there. Int A is 10, int B is 5. A is definitely not equals to B, right? So what happens is when I have an AND operator, it first checks the first condition. It checks whether it is yes or no. So yeah, it is not. If A is equals to B, is it? No, it's not. So that's a false. Good. A double equals 10, is it? Yes, it is. So that's a check mark over here. So I check the first condition and then I also check the second condition. And then I evaluate whether it is going to be a true or a false. The result will be true or a false. So it's not that the first condition is checked and I'm done. No, first condition is checked and then the second condition is checked. And then I can get the entire evaluation as false. So the result will be false for the first situation. For the second situation, look at it. Exactly the same thing. If A is equals to B or A is equals to 10. So what happens? Obviously, the first condition is checked, it is a false. And it will also check, it will not check the second condition, right? It is going to check the first condition, it is false. And here, this is true. So it will return back to you as a true. Wait a minute, I think it is wrong. I think it is wrong. Because if any of the condition is false over here, I will get back that result. Yeah, just 1 minute. Exactly. Just 1 minute. I think this is a typo for me.
No, I think you have used or there, right? So it will return true only, because or will either one of them, if it is true, then it will return true.
I think so.
Correct.
Just a minute. So I'll say if let's say Boolean result equals, and if I say, yeah, you're right. There's a truth table, let me just show you the truth table. Then it will be easier for us to kind of relate to it. So the truth table looks, wait a minute. I can show you a truth table. Just a second. Just a second. I'm trying to find another slide actually, where I can show you the truth table. That will be easier for us to understand. Yeah, let me, okay. Or truth table, you see, condition 1, condition 2. If both the conditions are true, I get the output as true. If one condition is false, doesn't matter. The second condition is true, so I get the output as true. If the first condition is true and the second condition is false, I get the output as true. If both the condition is false, then I get the false. Yeah, you're right. Whatever I've written there in the slide is correct. And then for and, it's different. If both the condition is true, only then the value is true. But for others, it will be false. For any of the others, it will be false. That's a truth table that I wanted to show you. Okay. All right. So that's that in terms of the logical operators. Okay. Now let's go to the pre and postfix operator. What is pre and postfix operator? It means that I can go ahead and I can perform something called a self-incrementation of a particular variable. So for example, if you want to add, so you have this guy here, int num, right? If you want to add just 1 to this particular variable, what it will do something like this. It will say num equals num plus 1. That's what it will do. And if you do that, this 20 will be converted to 21 over here. And then 21 will be reassigned to the num variable, correct? So this thing can be done in multiple ways. Number one is num plus equal 1. You can do that. It will add 1 to the number. You can also do num plus equals 2. So it will add 2 to the number. You can do that. But if you just want to increment the value just by 1, the easiest shortcut way is to say num plus plus. When you do that, what happens? You are converting, you're adding 1 to the existing variable. Now there's a difference between num plus plus and plus plus num. And that is what we are trying to cover here. Okay. So look at the example. Example here is in the main method, I have a simple variable called a with a variable value as 5. And I see something that is when I'm printing, can you guys tell me when I print the value in here, I will obviously get the value as 5. Okay. The question is, what else will be the value for other lines? What will I get it here? Can you tell me what will I get it here?
5.
Why is that?
Because it's just incremented. It is a post increment. So the value reflection will happen in the next print.
Exactly. Very good answer. Thank you. So what's happening is, because I am saying it is a plus plus, because I'm saying it is a plus plus as a suffix, what will happen is this entire sysout will be executed first, meaning whatever the value of a, that is what we will be printing over here. And once that is done, then the incrementation of the variable a will take place. Okay. And then it will be 6 over here. However, for the next line, it is a pre-incrementation operator. So first, the incrementation will be happening. So the 6 will become 7. And then it will print the whole line over here, which will make it as 7 for us. 7 for us. And then obviously in the last line, I'll get the updated value as 7. That is the answer. Is that clear to everybody? Yes, no? That's how the pre-increment and post-increment operator works. Is that clear to everyone?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, good. Let's move on to the next part. Assignment operator, yeah. As I said just a minute back, you can say assignment operator is like this, right? You can even say a, so this guy here, right? This guy here, int a equals 5. That is also an assignment operator. No problem at all, right? Along with this assignment, you can also try to assign a number by adding another number to it. So you see, I have a int b over here, and I'm saying a plus equals b. So I'm trying to assign an updated value to the existing variable. So I say a plus equals b, or a minus equals b, a divide equals b, you multiply equals b, or a modulus equals b, whatever. That's how it works out. Okay, great. These things are not really, I mean, like, there is no point in taking too much time to go over the code, because the code is already given to you. If you just simply execute them in your Eclipse, that's more than enough for you to understand how it works. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Ternary operator. Well, ternary operator is this. You see, I just said you a minute back that ternary operator works well when you are dealing with if-else statement. So you see, I have a condition over here. Get if this is true, or get this if it's false. So here you can clearly see that I have a condition over here. I'm saying if A is equals to B, if A is equals to B, if it is true, then I get the value as 10. If it is false, then I get the value as 6, right? That's how a ternary operator works. So when it is checked, the value 10 will be sent to the result if it is a positive, or else the value 6 will be sent to the result. And then you get the result printed out. Simple as that. So in this case, I will get the value as 6 because A is not equals to B. Is that understandable? Yes, no?
Yes. Sorry, I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
For this condition, when we say this is a condition and print this if this is true, or this if it's false, so can we write some text here, like string values or anything we want, or just
Yeah. You can do anything. For example, like this. You can do anything. For example, okay, I have int. Okay, so let's try in here. So I'll say int result, something like that, equals num is equals to num2. Then you want to print out something, for example, says out. Oh, no. Is it not? Wait a minute. System dot out dot println and I say hi there. Okay, and then colon, I say the result. No, it will not happen, right? It will not happen. And there's a reason why it will not happen, because you see, I say int result. So the point is that when you evaluate a condition, you're giving back something. You're giving back something to this result value. So if I'm trying to put a string that is not accepted by this int, I mean, you can say something like this. Maybe you can say that it's a string result, and you can say that I want to return the value as true like that, okay, or false like that, and that makes sense. But you cannot write a specific statement in this section because you need to ideally return back a value to this holder. I mean, without this holder, this ternary operator will not even work. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, true. Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's good. What else we have? Okay, ternary operator. Okay, now let's go and understand the arrays. So what is an array? Array is basically a collection, Java collection, which is helping us to store multiple values under one single variable. Up till now, we have seen that we were able to store one single value in one single variable. But with the arrays, we can store multiple values in one single variable. All you have to understand is, or all you have to kind of know is, what is the data type that you want to store? That's all you want to know. For example, I can go ahead and I can store an array of strings. So string names equals new string. And then you can say that I want to define the size of the array, meaning I want to store 5 names in this particular array called names. So if I just try to quickly debug this, so I'll do a sysout, I'll put a breakpoint line number 56, and I will actually comment out everything else between this and this. Okay, I'll comment out everything. Now, if I just try to debug this program, all right, I'm right now sitting in line number 54, and I'm trying to initialize an array with size number 5. If I go to the next line, you see, and I hover on top of it, you can see something. You can see that names variable or names array is having 5 boxes starting from the index number 0 to 4. Okay, and each and every box is having some default value which is null. Can someone tell me why I'm seeing null over here?
You haven't assigned any values to the array.
So why it is null? Why it is not empty space?
Null still has a value.
No. The right answer should be that
it is allocated the memory. So, but the values is not there. So once the memory is allocated, so it's default value is null.
Yeah, true. So string in Java takes a default value as null. That is the answer, right? You have allocated the memory to store a value, but you haven't really added the value. So the default value is null for string. What is the default value for integer? 0. Okay, default value for integer is 0. All right. So anyways, that's that. Now you just see that I have created an array which has empty spaces or empty 5 empty boxes with null inside. That's great. Now I can go ahead and I can create the array like this or initialize the array like this, and then I can update the array with some values. So I'll say names of index number 0, and I say Savik. Okay, and names index number 4 is Amrita. And I say, let's go and try to debug this again. Okay, sorry. There is an S here. Okay, now I hover again. I see Souvik in the first index and Amrita in the last index, and everything else is null. Correct? So you can set the value as per your indexes in array. The data gets stored as per index, right? So you can see here, that is exactly what I'm trying to say here. So you can see the size of the array is 5 and the index is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5 minus 1 is 4. So total size of the array minus 1 is the last index of the array. Very simple. Okay, there are 3 different ways you can initialize the array. The first one that I just showed you. The second one is just the same thing, but you can just say it like this. Sorry. You can say it like this. You can say string names to new string 5, something like that. Okay, there's also another way, and the other way is even more better for us, which is simply string array names. I will remove this guy, and names, and equals, and I'll just put a second bracket, and here just set the value directly. Souvik, Romeo, Derek, Bravo or Brandy. Okay, you see, I can store n number of names. So I'm just specifying the names as well as I'm specifying the size of it. One thing you have to understand something here. Now let's do some debugging, okay? Always debug, so that you can understand what's going on. For example, I'm sitting in line number 57 right now. The names array is ready. It has 4 different values. That's good. Let's try to debug it, meaning double click on the names, right click now, okay? Double click to select it, right click now, and then say watch. When you do that, you get this tab here called expressions tab, and you can see this names variable here, the array, right? Click on it, and this gives you all the arrays here, all the values in the array here, right? Now you can do something. We can perform some operation in this expressions section, right? Why am I showing this? Because I wanted to start using this debugging capabilities. Only then you can be a master in programming. You cannot get scared of debugging. Debugging is the only key for your success. All right. So first thing is add a new expression. For example, I can go ahead and I can say I want to update the value of names index number 0 to, instead of Souvik, I'll say Ronnie and say enter. And I did that. Now if I click on names again, it's not Souvik, it's Ronnie now. So that's how you can update the value. Okay. Let's try to update, or let's try to create a new index. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 indexes. Let's try to do something like this. I said names of 5 or 4. Total index is 3, right? 0, 1, 2, 3. So I'm trying to create a new index. So names 4 equals, say, I don't know, maybe Sony. As soon as I do it, I'm seeing an error during evaluation. Expand this section. Attempt to access illegal array index. Why? Because that index number 4 is not even there. When you created the array for the first time, you said the total index is number 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. So total 4 components you can add or you can manipulate. That's it. At runtime, why am I showing this to you? Because I'm trying to prove that at runtime, you cannot update the size of the array. That's what I'm trying to prove here. Okay, you can stop the execution. You can add a new value, and nobody is stopping you from doing that. So Sony. Okay, and then you can run this again, and it'll all work. So names, Savik, Romeo, Derek, Brandy, Sony. All good? Good stuff? All right. So that's an array. Any questions with array? By the way, just one thing I wanted to talk about here in array. That is, you have one property in array called as names.length. Enter. It gives you LENGTH, my bad. Okay, you see, I get the value as 5. So this property length will give you the understanding that how many components or how many elements are there within the array. So that's that. What else we want to know? I think in array, we don't have anything else to talk about ideally. Everybody is happy with that? Yes, no? Give me a shout.
Yep.
Oh, yes, Sovik.
Okay.
Yeah.
So array rules, I just showed you what is an array, how you can initialize that, how you can get the value out of it, all good. Okay, loops. Let's try to talk about loops. So there are 4 different types of loops that we will be ideally working with. For loop, while loop, do while loop, and for each loop. Okay, what is a for loop? For loop is very simple. You are going to deal with a range with a for loop. Okay, you see? This is the section that you need to ideally concentrate on. Just a second. So, here. Okay, so initialization, the expression, the Boolean expression, and the update. Okay, so look at this. I'm having an initialization. Basically, I'm trying to create a range initialization. So int is 0. And then I'm trying to go with a Boolean expression. I'm saying I nums.length, meaning I'm trying to say that the I value, as long as the I value is less than the length number, keep on updating the value of I++, and then print out all the elements from an array, right? So let's do this programmatically. Very simple thing. Nothing complicated here. It should be very, very simple to understand. So for example, let me clear my cache expressions. And then what I'll do is, that's my for loop. Simple. I want to print out all these values that are there within the array. How can I do that? I can simply say for loop, starting with the int I equals 0, because I want to start from the 0th index, semicolon I less than names.length I++. Why I'm saying names.length? Because I want to, what is the length of this array? It's 5. So I want to actually go till 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? I don't want to go till 5 because 5th index doesn't even exist. So names.length, and then I say sysout, and I say get me the value. So I say names, within square bracket I say I, correct? And if I do that, then we are perfect. I should be able to access all my values just like that. Simple stuff. Okay, that's the for loop. The for loop works with a range. You give a range, you say how to increment the value, and then you get it. If I say I plus equals 2, now let's run this. I get Savik, Derek, and Sony only, because Savik, Derek, and Sony, because I'm just running I plus 2, right? I'm just trying to show you how we can increment the value. It's not that if it's I++, meaning I'm trying to access every one of them. And if I'm saying I plus 2, I'm trying to skip one between, right? So you have to understand that part. How you can increment, it's all up to you, right? So that's that. Okay. So this is for loop, very simple to understand. Second loop is a conditional loop or a while loop. So let's say Boolean status equals to true. I'm creating a variable called Boolean, status, which is a Boolean type of variable, and giving the initial value as true. So my motive is that I want to iterate over the while loop using a while loop as long as the status of the Boolean value is true. So I can say status. So look at this all. So remember this very well. Okay, this is a better way of writing code. Not for, my bad. It's while. So while I say status, I can say something like this. I can say status equals to true. As long as the value of status is equals to true, let's keep on running the while loop. I can do that. So I'll just say sysout. Okay. Testing. Look at this. If I run this program right now, what happens? Do you see that? What's happening? I am stuck in an infinite loop because I'm saying as long as the value of status is true, let's keep on printing testing. So it keeps on doing it. It doesn't know where to stop unless you explicitly stop it or you give some option to exit out of this loop. So let me just stop it manually right now and then figure it out how we can get it done further. Meaning Boolean status equals true, that's totally fine. And then while status equals to true, rather than giving it as equals to true, when it is a Boolean variable, you can just write it in a shortcut manner. That is, just take it out and just say status, while status. That's it. So the previous line and this line is exactly the same. If I run this, I still get the same result. You see, I'll go for an infinite loop. Okay. That's how a while loop works. Now the question is, in this particular situation, as long as in this particular situation where I want to print out all these values using the while loop, how can I do that? Right? So I'm saying as long as the status is true, let's keep on printing. However, because I have this as an array, and the array is having the values in the index, I also need a counter for myself. So I say int count or counter equals 0. This variable is going to work as a counter for me. And then what I'll do is I'll say names counter. Okay. Now, who will tell me? Let me ask this question to Moses. Can you tell me, if I run this program, why I am still stuck in an infinite loop and why I am just printing my first value, Sovic? So counter is having the index value as 0, and I'm just keeping on printing the same value, Sovic, forever and ever and ever. Why is that happening here? Can you tell me that? Yes, no? Give it a try, Moses. Can you come on audio, please? Hello? Manoj, do you want to try?
I think we did not specify any condition there.
What type of condition should I be adding here?
So
Condition should be false.
Condition should be false, like how? I mean, how will I make the condition as false?
if you change the status to false, and then you increment the counter at the end of the statement, that should then print everything, increment the names by 1, and when you get to the last counter, it should break the loop.
Exactly. Very well said. Thank you. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. So what you got to do here is, first and foremost, you need to figure out how can you increment the counter. So let's see. I can say counter plus plus. We have done this n number of times. So counter plus plus. That will keep on incrementing my counter. That's great. Say run. I ran all of it, but it didn't stop the execution gracefully. It just showed me some error saying array index are out of bound exceptions. That is not I want. That's not what I want. I want that to end properly. What option do I have then? What option do I have then is here's this, right? I say if counter, okay, equal to names dot length. If this counter is equals to names dot length, then I'll do one thing. I think the position is not right here. Then status equals false. So I'm explicitly setting the status equals false if the counter is equals to names.length. Run this. I got every one of them. And as soon as it hit the names.length, it changes to false. And while status is, if the status is false, then obviously the loop will not iterate anymore. And that's why I was able to end it up here. Emmanuel, Amruta, are you getting this guy, this particular part? It should be very simple to understand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, Avik, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Moses, is that clear to you? Okay, I'm not hearing from him. Shravanti?
It's clear.
But
Okay.
Sovik,
Yeah.
can I ask a question? Yeah.
Go on.
This is not normally, because this is not given any exception, because the number of array actually start from 0. Because this actually are names. That's why, because normally it's 5, it's meant to count. If it's actually 5, it's meant to count 0 to 4. So it's not giving exception in this aspect because it's actually names. It's not actually indexed as numbers.
No. You see names and then I say counter, right?
Yes.
So names is the variable, that is the array variable, and the counter is the number, right?
Okay. Yeah.
That's why I'm getting okay. Let's debug. Let's debug. All right, look at this. I'm in line number 65. Okay, let's go to line number 66. I got printed Sovik. How that happened? Because names is an array. Names is an array, and this counter is 1.
Yes.
Or 0, right? So names of 0. If you see, I select this whole thing, right click on it, watch, and I get the value as Sovik because counter is 0. If I say 0, I get Sovik. If I say 1, I get the other guy, Romeo. Correct?
Correct.
Is that clear?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to point out. Yes, that Sovik stands at 0. It's starting. Yeah, okay. It's correct. Yeah, I get it.
Now what happens is, now when you hit the last, so I'm checking always in my line number 67 that if my counter is equals to the number length, names.length, that means the counter got incremented starting from 0 to the names.length, that is 5. If it is, then make the status as false. And when that happened, the loop broke because I said while the status is true, only then iterate in the loop, right?
Yes.
Good. That's the while loop. Okay. Now there is a very simple difference between a while loop and a do while loop. However, in my last 13 years of experience in test automation, I have not found any good reason to use a do while loop. Okay, but it's still good to understand how it is, how does it work. So what is a do while loop? Let's say do and while the exact same program, no difference at all. Status, okay, and I'll put it here. Okay, that's the do while loop. The structure is a little different. The only difference between the while loop and do while loop is this. Okay, I'm making this status as false, or let me do one thing. I'll say plus. I'll say plus here, and I'll add the statement saying while loop. Okay, and then I will do the same thing here, and I'll say it as do while loop plus do while loop. Okay, I have this part here. Now what do I do? Now let's try to run this. I'm not making any changes. Let's run this. Why do I have that now? Counter names.length, then false. Okay. So Sovic Romeo.
The counter is already.
Oh yeah, because I should be doing it here. My bad. I should set this counter back to 0 again for the do while loop. Only then it will work. It worked out for the first loop, the while loop. It worked out fine, but for the do while loop, it is not the situation, right? So I had to reset back to 0 again, and then let's run. Do you see something? Just a minute. If counter is y, it should run. Oh yeah, obviously, because the status is also I made it false here, right? That's why. Okay, wait a minute. I have to make this all the same thing. I'll tell you what is happening. Equals true. Okay, let's run this and then I'll explain this. Hold on. Okay. See something. I'm getting the first layer from while loop, all the values, and again for the do while loop, I get the same values. Okay, no problem at all. So earlier it was failing because you see this variables counter equals to 0 and status equals to true. This was not the case because at the end of the while loop, the counter value was set to 5. Okay, because it got incremented in this section, and the status value was set to false. That's the reason why the do while loop just got failed. Okay, so I had to set it back to again 0 and true, like we are doing it here, so that we can run the do while loop. Okay, so the question here is now that what is the difference between the while loop and the do while loop? Okay, in the while loop, what happens is if the condition is true, the while loop will keep on executing until the condition is made false. However, the do while loop will run at least one time whether the condition is true or not. Meaning, look at this. I'll make this as false. Okay, for do while loop, I'll make the status as false. Okay, and for while loop as well, I'll make the status as false. You will see that it will not execute anything for a while loop, but for do while loop, it will at least execute once. That's the difference between do while loop and a while loop. So in do while loop, it will run at least one time, even if the condition is a false. That's the difference. But from test automation perspective or whatever we will be learning, if you ask me that we will be, are we going to use this? I'll say no, we're not going to use this. Okay, we are going to use while loop, we're going to use for loop, we're going to use the next loop that I'll be teaching you called as for each loop. Yeah, we will be using them, but we will not be using do while loop. All right. Okay. Any questions with this while loop or for loop? Yes, no? All good?
Yes, all is good. Okay.
Good. Let's go to the next part. Which is the for each loop. Okay. So what am I showing you here is a for each loop. So for each loop really doesn't care about any range or any condition or whatsoever. Okay. For each loop, to implement the for each loop, all you need to know. So first and foremost, for each loop works with only collections. That's number one. Okay. So you just need to know that the loop or that the collection that you're trying to work out with, what type of data you have stored in that collection. So in this case, we have a string type of data. So we say string name names. That's it. That's the structure of for each loop. So names is the array. Okay. And then you're adding a variable over here, and then you have a semicolon over here. I'll say sys out. Let me just say name, and then just say print or run this. You see, I got all the values just from there in the for each loop. How is that possible? Let's debug. Everything debug. All right. Line number 82, I'm stopping. You see, names is the variable or the array where I have all these five guys, right? Now, when the iteration starts with for each loop, what it does is, for each and every iteration, it picks up the index and puts it in the name variable one after another. So obviously, I'll get Sovic first. If I go ahead and run this, I get Sovic first, and then immediately I'll go to the next iteration. So Romeo, Derek, so on and so forth. It will print out everything by picking up one element at a time from the array and putting it into the name variable. That's how it happens. Is that clear to everyone? That's how a for each loop works, but it will work out with only the collections. Okay, that's how it works. That's the for each loop. Now, the next thing that we want to learn here is Var Args. So I'm just showing you a property or a parameter type called as Var Args. Above Java 1.5, this Var Args is available to us. What does it really help me with? So I'm giving you a use case so that you can understand what's going on. For example, I have a method here, public static void add. In the add method, I'm giving parameters int a, comma, int b. We'll talk about methods in details next week, but for now, just follow my lead. So I have this add method. What I want to do is I want to print out some value. So let's go on, say result, and I will say colon plus within brackets, I say a plus b. What I'll do is I'll print the value and then I'll print it along with the result, right? That's the add method. Now I have just two variables over here to get the summation of two numbers. I can have one more method, the same name, but here I will say int a comma b comma c, int c. And here what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to add in 3 results or 3 values. I can do that. Nobody's stopping me from doing that. Yeah, go on. Any questions? Emmanuel, any questions? Can't hear you, man.
Yeah, I've just said that you're just trying to create your several methods like after the main one.
Yeah, after the main one, I'm creating several methods to perform addition. Okay, I mean, number one method will take 2 parameters to add 2 numbers. Number 2 method will take 3 parameters to add 3 numbers, right?
Correct.
Okay, good. So now that we
Would
have
they-
this, yeah, go on.
Wouldn't that affect the naming convention if you have the same name?
No, it won't, because I am using a property in Java called as overloading. But I will talk about overloading later on. Don't worry about that. I'll explain this in a much better way. It's called overloading or polymorphism. Polymorphism. Okay. How exactly it is working, I'll show that to you in the next week. But for now, just see, I have two methods, add and add. Both of them have same numbers, same names, and they have different parameters. That's good. So what I'll do is I'll just try to call this. How do I call this? Calling add method from main method is very easy. I say add, and here I can pass 2 numbers, 2, 3, 2, 4. Okay, and then add 20, 40, 60, right? And I go and I run this and I get my result as it is. No problem at all. Everything is fine. Good. But think about it. Is it even possible for you to really go ahead and create, like, if you want to suppose add 100 numbers, do you really want to do that? Do you really want to add 100 parameters? That's not possible, right? We need to have some flexible option. The flexible option will be provided to me by Var Args parameter. How is that? So you can see I'm just writing another method, same name, public, static void. Okay, add. And instead of giving int a, b, c, I say int dot space, okay, space, and give nums, the name of the variable or the parameter. That's my var args. So int dot names. So you can say int, you can say string, you can say boolean, whatever it is. The idea is that you are trying to supply multiple values together in the method. Okay. Now, how do I add it? So I'm going to use some combination. I'm going to use a looping mechanism to get the result out. So I'll say int, I'm creating a local variable within this method, int result equals 0. Okay, I'm giving some initial value to the result variable, and I'll say a for each loop. So here it is a number. By the way, this var args is nothing but an array. Var args is an array, right? So if it's an array, then I can use a collection, because I showed you how can you use a for each loop for a collection. So I'll use a same for each loop. So for, I'll say int num colon nums, right? That's my simple for each loop. I showed you a minute back. That's a simple logic. And I'll say result equals to nums plus, or I'll say result plus num. What exactly I'm doing? Simple logic. Okay, I'll just explain that. Sysout result colon plus result. That's it. What exactly did I do? So I get a variable or an array, maybe 34, 56, 78, 90, or 23, whatever, right? These are the numbers that I'm getting in this var args. Perfectly fine. So this loop will iterate for each and every number. I showed you the previous diagram where I showed you that at every iteration, one value will be picked up. So let's talk about the first instance. The value 34 is getting picked up. So the num variable is having the value 34, right? The result over here is 0. So result value will be 34, correct? Now the loop iterates. This value is now changed to 56, and this value is now changed to 34 because it got stored 34 earlier. So now this one will be changed to 34 plus 56, 1090, right? You get the value as 90. And that iteration keeps on happening forever until it exhausts the whole list. And that's how you get the summation of the entire series of data. Make sense? Yes, no?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're getting that logic, then let's try and simply execute the problem. I'll just go and say add and say give n number of data you think of, right? Nobody is stopping you, right? And just say run this. And I get the result just there, 414. Okay, so that's how the var args work. All right, so that's the end of this particular slide deck. And what I am going to do is I'm going to let you guys go today because we have covered a lot of stuff. And I will talk about classes and methods tomorrow, next week. And I will also upload the week 1 solutions. And I will send, or I will update the information in the Google, not Google Drive, obviously. And I'll put that information right there in the channel, right? So guys, I am expecting you to don't wait for the entire week and get started at the very end, like Thursday or Friday. That is not how it should be done. So please start spending time right from tomorrow or today, tonight, to today evening. If you are serious about this program, if you really want to get into test automation, then you need to be proactive. You need to put in the effort that is needed. So get started immediately as soon as this class is over. All this effort that you're providing it for your own sake. You're not doing any favor to me. So please understand that and put the time that is needed for you to learn this whole technology. I have asked some of you guys and I have seen that you're starting very late, like, by Wednesday or Thursday. Don't do that. Start from today itself, tonight itself. Whatever the effort you're providing for next 4 months. And once you are completing this 4 months, you have an offer. My students are getting offered within the 4 months time period, because I'm giving you everything that is needed. When you go for the interview, you will have to explain things as if you are doing it every day for your last 4 years. And you can get to that situation if and only if you don't mug up. You cannot mug up. This is not to memorize and blabber in front of the interviewer. No, you have to practice. You You have to put the time and you have to practice. Whatever I'm doing in the video, try to mimic in the video along with me in the video, and then you face problems and then you ask me questions. I'm seeing less questions here, which clearly shows me that this batch is not, yet kind of active. You see the other batches like February, they got started few days back, and you see how many questions I get from them every day. It's not loading anymore. Yeah, it's loading, right? That they are spending time with Gagan. They are booking calls with Gagan. They're asking me questions back to back, right? Just not them. Go to any other batch, say in July. Look, they keep on asking technical questions to me and I keep on answering them. Or they book a call with Gagan. Put the time, because it's not a magic pill. Nothing will be, it's not a magic pill. I cannot give it to you in a day or two. So please put the time. It is for your own sake. All right. Good stuff. Let's meet back next week. I'm going to put the video. I'm going to enable week number 2 for you right after this class. So start from today in evening, and I will also give you the solutions for the week number 1. By the way, how was the class today? Are you guys getting a little bit of confidence?
Yes, Souvik.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Do you want to give any feedback to me? Should I do something to improve the training structure, or whatever do you think it is? It should be improved. No?
No, I'm happy with this. It's very
Okay.
nice. It's really structured.
Sorry, Souvik, are you releasing any video for the week?
Yeah, week 2. Yeah, obviously.
Okay.
So right now you're just, when you go here, you are just seeing just the week number 1 right now. After the class today, I'm going to enable week number 2 for you guys. Okay.
Thank you.
So you will see week number 2 from today evening. Okay. Perfect. In the week number 2, you have things like, again, about Java classes, about learning the dev tools, and understanding HTML layout. So that is what is in week number 2. All right.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. See you next week. Okay, Manoj, can you just stay back for a minute, if you don't mind?
Yeah, sure, Souvik.
Thank you, guys.
Sorry, Souvik, can I ask you one question?
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, go on. Take care.
Souvik, in Slack, when I see that people are asking you questions, like Manoj asked you a question about the syntax, I'm not able to see any answers. Like, so.
No, I didn't answer that. I was thinking of answering it in the class, but it slipped out of mind. Generally, we will answer it here itself in the Slack. You can see Gagan answered, right?
Yeah.
Or I also answered to one of the questions, I suppose.
Yeah.
So
no, it's good that people will ask, and if we can read and we can also understand their perspective, and that way.
True. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Souvik. Thanks.
Thank you.